like to call the City of Marine City Commission meeting to order. Regular meeting Thursday, April 5th, 2018, 7 p.m. Could we please stand for a prayer from Dave?
That's fine. It's an honor to be here. Would you join with me in prayer? Father God, we just thank you for your presence here, Lord. We ask, Father, that you would continue your favor upon our city, Lord, that you would give, Father, favor and wisdom, discernment, Father, to these commissioners and mayor, Father, as they do the city business tonight, Lord. And in all ways, Father, we just thank you for your presence here. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Vandenbach.
Here.
Commissioner Mabry.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Leftley.
Here.
Commissioner Simpson.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
City Manager Left. Here.
All right, moving on to communications. I need a motion to receive and file Davis Kirksey Associates March report, Zoning Board of Appeals regular minutes, January 3rd, Planning Commission regular minutes, February 12th, and Tifa Board regular minutes, February 20th.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or concerns on the minutes?
I do. Just
Yes.
one. Again, it references the teen zone, the same thing. She didn't really work on that project, and it still indicates the inaccurate amount of 50,000, although it was 30,000, and we did meet that goal, but it still should not appear on there, and it's still inaccurate.
Any other questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment. Anyone in attendance is welcome to address the City Commission. Please state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
My name is Louise Buteau. I live at 535 North Main, Marine City. I'd just like to make a short comment in a time when we seem to be finding problems with almost everything. I'd like to express appreciation for our Chief of Police, Jim Heslop, and his handling of a recent problem here in Marine City that involved a gun. I have a long history of, as a social worker, of doing outreach service with people who are psychotic, and some of whom are drunk. When someone is psychotic or when someone is drunk, there really is no way to reason with them or confront them, because if you do, you make a situation worse. Our Chief of Police didn't do that. He made sure that everybody was safe. He took a thoughtful, safe, wonderful way of handling a bad situation. And so Marine City didn't see a long parade saying that they were sorry for the loss of another policeman, nor did the family of the man who was involved have sadness that they didn't say goodbye or didn't restrain him in some way. So thank you, Chief. We have a good man at our helm.
Mrs. White.
Judy White, 8757 Anchor Bay Drive, Clay Township. Good evening. I'm here to represent Friends of City Hall. We have made some applications for grant money from USA Today and Gannett Corporation. The paperwork is all done. The paperwork has been filed with them. USA Today sets a particular hurdle that you have to jump in order to be eligible for some of their grant money. And that is to demonstrate that you can raise $3,000 in a 2-month period online. This is done through a online page called CrowdRise, which is actually based in Detroit. We are now 2/3 of the way through our required $3,000 hoop. And I'm very, very pleased with our progress so far. Our deadline for reaching that total is May 11th. I think we will reach it well ahead of the deadline. If you are so inclined to help us raise this money for the interior restoration of City Hall, you would go to CrowdRise, one word, CrowdRiseNormalSpelling.com. And the name of our appeal or campaign is Be a Friend of City Hall. So think about helping us out and making a donation to that cause if you could. Secondly, to also raise money for the restoration of City Hall and specifically fire suppression system. City Hall has never had a sprinkler system of any sort in that building, and we're going to put one in sooner or later. So to raise money, we have scheduled a dinner, which we are somewhat tongue-in-cheek calling fire sale. Angelo Patsalis at Riviera Restaurant has been very gracious and kind to us and letting us use his restaurant for this moneymaker. It's April 24. That's a Tuesday. It's scheduled from 4 to 8 p.m. There's going to be a wonderful dinner of baked chicken and potatoes and vegetable and coleslaw, and about 6 ladies, Friends of City Hall, are making the desserts, which range from cakes to cookies to brownies to fresh fruit compote. And all of that for an adult is $10, which is a bargain. Children 12 and under, $7, another bargain. So if you're looking for dinner out Tuesday, April 24, come to Riviera. We will have 50-50. We will have raffle baskets. We might even wear funny hats. So come and see us, please. Thank you so much.
Bob Lepley, 539 North William, in the city. Mr. Mayor, my interest here tonight is in item 9G under your unfinished section of the agenda before us, and I would request permission to speak at that time rather than now.
Are you going to be speaking for the whole Tifa group?
I never do that.
Okay. Well, go ahead and speak now.
You would prefer that I go now?
Let's get her done.
All right, well, I'll do the best I can to hit the 5-minute limit then. First of all, in the way of education, I want everybody to be aware of exactly what TIFA is and what it does. So particularly those in the TV audience that enjoy watching these meetings and those present. The Tax Increment Finance Authority captures approximately $168,500 annually from a portion of property taxes. The capture is from state, county, and local taxes on properties which are within the TIFA districts. Other than a small county portion from the community college, there is no capture from the schools. Businesses and residents within the districts do not pay more taxes than those outside the districts. Of this revenue, approximately $72,864 is directed to the general operating budget of the city in return for administrative services. This funds services rendered by city employees. Conservatively, 80% of this money captured is from commercial businesses within the TIFA districts. TIFA was implemented in the 1980s as a means to invest in the city, promoting growth and development, a vibrant business community bringing private investment, increased draw for visitors, and stabilizing the tax base. Tifa is overseen by an autonomous board consisting of 7 members appointed by the mayor and approved by a majority of the city commission. The 3 Tifa districts are 1, Water Street and Broadway to Main, 2, the Kmart Plaza, and 3, the Parker Corridor from West Boulevard to Chartier. Tifa has been extended several times as it has worked well statewide, providing relief to strained city and state budgets. Currently, there are about 1,500 DDAs and TIFAs in the state of Michigan. Over the years, Tifa has funded project and grant matches as well as bond repayments for major city investments. And we have partial lists of those kinds of things available for anyone that's interested in looking them over. My time is limited here. I have several concerns with the issue before you tonight, item 9G on the agenda. One, that with the dissolution of Tifa, the city is surrendering significant revenue at a time where every penny is important to government budgets at all levels. Of the remaining fund balances, best guess is that about $500,000 would be refunded to the sources of capture. The remaining $400,000 would stay here. But the question is twofold: how long will it last, and what happens then? In addition, the city's budget would lose the annual $72K plus for administrative services. This would impact the salaries of some city employees. In consult with the city treasurer, with the capture gone, the city would gain about $22,000 a year. So the net loss would be about $50,000 a year if you subtract that 22 from the 72. Second concern, there will be no vehicle for investment in the kinds of things that Tifa does. The state is currently revising legislation and no new TIFAs or DDAs are being approved. Existing ones, however, can continue to extend based on application and approval. And I want to point out that in the plan that we're currently working under, which was done by Wade Trim in 2010, it does need revised, no doubt about that, as we try to do 5-year plans. However, it states there, under Section 13.1H, the duration of the development plan and the tax increment plan. And I quote, "This development plan and tax increment finance plan shall endure through the 2029-2030 disbursement cycle." The rest of the concerns are what might be lost after if TIFA is dissolved. Examples might include no grant writer or lobbyist to work on our behalf, no EDA membership, which TIFA funds, no help with civic events, festivals, and so forth, no available fund for grant matches or new bonding payments. Point out, we picked up the engineering costs for the Safe Walks to School program, a program implemented by Commissioner Lovett before she moved and supported by all of you. And no incentives for new business development, and on and on. Third concern, that the growth and progress we have achieved will deteriorate and continued improvement will come to a screeching halt. There is no question that the City Commission can allow TIFA to dissolve. The decision those of us serving on the TIFA board would like, and unanimously by the way, like to see is that TIFA apply for extension. If the State Treasurer's Office does not approve, then this debate is moot. It seems to me that this is a much more viable path than surrendering TIFA voluntarily. Thank you.
I want to do something very dangerous, and that is correct my husband in public. He is representing TIFA tonight. He is on the subcommittee that is to address this. So he and Mr. Scott are representing TIFA tonight.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak? Hold on, hold on. Everybody sit back down. Raise your hands, please. Sit back down, please. Have a seat. Everybody all had their hands up at one time. All right, who wants to speak? Go ahead. Just please raise your hand next time.
Thank you. Scott Tisdale, 123 North 5th Street. I, too, am a member of the TIFA board. I want to address myself. I also want to address item 9G, the future of TIFA. I don't know why we're here. Not to imply that it's wrong to be here. It's well within statute that the commission can dissolve TIFA at your pleasure. Matter of fact, that we're your board. We serve at your pleasure. I understand that. It occurs to me, though, that it's possible that some of the board members might feel that they're legally obligated or statutorily obligated to dissolve TIFA because of the wording in the statute. And specifically, I'm referring to, I think we've all heard it before, the 4 necessary purposes to create a TIFA, which are halt decline in property values, increase property tax valuation, eliminate decline in property values, and last, to promote growth. So the statute provides, or I should say, the statute requires that if those 4 criteria have been met, TIFA must be dissolved. So again, I'm under the impression that it's possible that the board might think that you're required to. I'm going to present a little ditty here where I think that would be incorrect. I think we've done some tremendous work out on Water Street. I'm not going to try to debate whether or go into whether or not we haven't met those 4 criteria, because quite frankly, I think the argument would sway the other way. I want to focus on TIFA District 2. Primarily, mostly a vacant lot, or vacant land, but there is what we call the Kmart Plaza. And in that plaza, there are 23 street addresses. Businesses vary because sometimes some businesses take over more than one address. But as near as I can tell, going back just before 2012, there were about 18 businesses, storefronts there. So in 2012, out of those 18, there were 13 storefronts occupied. And that remained that way until 2015, when it declined to 11, and then 2016, when it declined to 10. So my point is this. In TIFA 2, obviously growth is not the criteria, it's not what's happening there. In fact, not only is it not growth, it's a contraction. So my suggestion to anyone that might feel contractually or legally obligated to dissolve TIFA, I think I've just presented a case that, that's in fact not the case. So that's all. Thank you.
Who would like to, Mr. Frank?
Good evening. My name is Michael Frank. My wife Jeannie and I have our office and live at the southern part of the city, down by the Riverview Plaza, one of the TIFA districts. I grew up here, went to Marine City, left, went into the Navy, came back 4 years later, and here we still are today. Now, 80 to 90% of the people in Marine City have no idea what TIFA is and what TIFA has done. There's a big list here. I don't know that they had time to go over any of them, but I got time, so I'm going to mention a few. They funded the addition to the Marine City Library. They funded the purchase and remodel of the police station. They did the Broadway streetscape. And they bonded improvements for the sewer and water plants, and there's many more. But I'm going to talk about one of the other projects that they fund every year, and that's the flowers, the flower program. Now there's a study done by Texas A&M University that says flowers generate happiness, they improve people's moods, they create a perception of higher quality of life, which benefit the entire community. They increase levels of positive energy as well as reducing crime rates, just to name a few. This is the 11th year anniversary for the annual Beautify Marine City Beautification Day, which is held May 19th of this year, that volunteers of the Marine City Garden Club initiated. The flowers in town have many, many wonderful benefits, which I briefly touched on, and the Garden Club members knew this. They had a vision for this town. Their idea of annual Beautification Day was meant to encourage homeowners and businesses to get out and add some flowers to their homes or storefronts. They envisioned creating a prettier place to live, work, and shop, instilling some community pride throughout the city. The group's efforts also included the installation of hanging baskets and barrels around town and numerous other beautification projects. In 2008, when the flower program started, Marine City was in dire need of something. It was almost a ghost town. Many leaders in this community believed the summer flower program was really the catalyst for the city's revitalization, because from there, the streetscape evolved, creating a beautiful gateway to our historic downtown. A couple of businesses popped up inspiring visit from the Under the Radar, which is a TV show featuring great places in Michigan, which now puts us on the radar. Even more businesses were attracted to our town, and here we are today with a bustling downtown, lots of shops, 3 theaters, more restaurants, a new hotel, and our little city has turned into one of the Michigan's destination towns. We're even in magazines that say to go to Marine City. That's a far cry from what we were just 11 years ago. But none of this would have been possible without TIFA. TIFA did all of this, and so much more. They have so much more they want to accomplish, such as the Parker Street Kmart Plaza, and the city needs TIFA. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins.
Keith Jenkins, 809 Water Street. I'm here to talk about the TIFA too, of course. I'm wondering why we don't get to talk during 9G.
It's public comment right now.
Well, it's 5 minutes. Yeah, I'd like to thank Mike for those comments. He's absolutely right that TIFA did start the renaissance in this town. And oddly enough, it was the flowers that started the growth and the other things that came after it, but it was the flowers that came first, and there was a lot of people that were very happy to see the flowers up, and a lot of people said we wasted money for that. So that's the way it is on the TIFA board. One thing I don't think Mike talked about, and since him and his wife are real estate brokers, but it appears that the property values in Marine City have begun to really climb. Am I right about that? So that's a big part of what TIFA was able to accomplish too. I really don't see the reason to shut this thing down. Monetarily, I think that the money is better spent when it comes through a board of people in the private sector. I think when the state started this program of TIFA, they were thinking that it would be better to have people in the private sector on the boards. That way they wouldn't be affected by politics and investing in things that would just get them reelected. I think that the TIFA board's been pretty even-handed when it comes to investing in various people's ideas. The other thing I wanted to talk about too briefly is, since I was on the TIFA board, I was on there for 8 years, and I'm on the planning commission now, and I think it's a shame that that there's a handful of people that come to this microphone and absolutely say the worst things, personal attacks against the members of the TIFA board and the TIFA board itself. Hold on one second. Some of the things that have been said lately, and over the years actually, is that the Tifa board doesn't know what it's doing. The Tifa board is out of control. They're sneaking things into the plan. They're funding pet projects. That we make investments for our own means. In other words, the Tifa members are dishonest, self-serving, and dumb. We don't get paid for this, and I think the Tifa board since 2005 has done a wonderful job, even under all the pressure of the criticism that goes on. But it's hard to get people to volunteer, because why do you have to put up with all this? Somebody else's political problems gets imprinted on the Tifa board because people aren't telling the truth about what we've done, what we do, and what we continue to do. I don't know where all these rumors start, but none of them are true. I mean, I don't know how I would make any money off of the Tifa board. Everything that we do is out in the open, and everything that we propose has to be passed by this group, you guys. So where all this criticism lies is, I think it's just politics and personal axes to grind. I hope you guys don't end Tifa. There's still a lot to do. There's good people on that board. There's going to be good people in the future on those boards. And I think they can get a lot done too. Thanks.
Mr. Signorini.
Charles Signori, 224 North Elizabeth. I also would like to speak upon the Tifa board that you guys are going to be discussing tonight. I sit on the board as a newer volunteer, and you know, people do make attacks. People do say things about the Tifa. You know, some of it's misguided, misinformation stuff. No different than what you guys sit up here and get attacked for. It's a tough situation. But I ask that you guys, the commissioners, Mr. Mayor, would use the Tifa, keep it, and use it as a tool that this town can use and work together with you folks, that we may come together and be able to put in seawalls and be able to use it for infrastructure if possible. And I know, Ms. Hendricks, we're not supposed to use it for infrastructure, but as a tool or a means for different bonds, different opportunities. Think out of the box. Let's come together as a group, as a city, and keep this tool. This is a tool. It's not the Tifa board's tool, it's the city's tool. It's for all of us to use, all of us to come together, think out of the box, think together. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of empty buildings that need to be done. Worked on 2 and 3. Yeah, 1 is great. We all love Tifa 1, Water Street. But that was done by a lot of business owners, a lot of volunteers, the garden club. It's not a waste of money. It is a good tool. And that's all we can use it for, folks, is a tool. Keep it, let's work together, and let's find a solution to grow this city and the revenue of this city. Let's not throw it away. Thank you.
No.
Hello, my name is Michelle Boren, 5527 Gratiot, St. Clair. I am here on behalf of the Maritime Days Festival. I wasn't originally planning on speaking about Tifa, but since I'm standing here, I want to say thank you, because I don't live in Marine City. I had never heard of Tifa until I got on the board last year, and I'm amazed at what Tifa does. And all of you are correct, because the things that are afforded by Tifa, all those things wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Tifa. And who's gonna pick up that slack? There's nothing in place anywhere that's gonna take the place of what Tifa's doing. So I really hope that serious consideration is given to that, because we benefited from Tifa. The couple years that I've been here, we've benefited from that. I'm sure they've benefited from that before I got here as well. But there are things that we couldn't afford. And speaking as an organization that runs 100% on sponsorships, you will not raise the money on your own to do all those things that Tifa is paying for. Tifa is an amazing process. I'm in awe of it. So I really hope that you'll give serious consideration and not dissolve that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is on the agenda tonight, we are asking for permission to have music in the park on all the Fridays through the summer, leading up to the Maritime Days Festival. We're looking to utilize Drake Park. And there is an error on the form. We had originally asked for every Friday through June and July, and we were looking at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And we were told there was a noise ordinance, so we wanted to change it to 7 to 10 p.m. But I believe the paperwork that you have in front of you says 8 to 10 p.m. So just so you're aware, we are looking for 7 to 10 p.m. and it would be every Friday through the summer. It would be free to the public. We have bands lined up that are ready to do this. It's free to everybody. And there's going to be some food vendors out there, hoping it brings everybody in and they'll hang out and spend some money downtown and, you know, check out the restaurants and the theaters and everything that the city has to offer. So, and again, really, if you guys could really give some thought to the Tifa issue, because I'm in awe. Somebody finally showed me a list about a month and a half ago. Like I said, I'm not from the area, so I apologize for my ignorance on this, but the list of things that Tifa has done, I defy you to find a city who got all those things done from an organization like that, because it just doesn't happen. I live in St. Clair. We don't have anything going on like that. Laura knows, you live out there. We don't have anything going on like that where, you know, there's an organization that's just stepping in and getting all these things done. So hopefully they'll consider that and back everybody up who's trying to keep it alive. Thank you.
Yes.
Laura Scotcha from 430 South Water Street. I'm not here to talk about Tifa. I'm here to talk about River Rec Teen Zone. In January, we embarked on a fundraiser through Patronicity and through the MEDC, and it ended March 23rd. So I'm just here to report that through the generous donations of residents, businesses, and people from all over, we were able to raise $34,000, and we did get our matching funding of $30,000. So just today, we just received another check of $5,000 from a local business who is looking forward to working with our teens and keeping them in our area, employing them in our area. So I'm here just to say thank you to our board, thank you to our adult advisory board, thank you to you guys all for supporting us. Thank you everyone here who was part of that. We have a lot of our board members and our adult advisory here. But it's just amazing what can be done when people work together and have a common goal and see the good. And so we're excited. We're gonna hopefully start renovations coming up in the next month at 300 Broadway in our section, and we're excited to be doing that, and the kids are excited. And so I just want to say thank you.
Great news. Congratulations.
Bill Haas, 203 Pleasant Street. I might be that negative guy Keith Jenkins was talking about. Anytime anybody would like to step up and debate anything I've said, I've got no problem speaking to anybody about anything, telling you how it is. A week ago, National Honor Society, for all you people out there who think I'm the crazy guy. Both my daughters, academic achievers. National Honor Society, the young lady up front here, she's just inducted into the National Honor Society at the East China School District. Came here, was going to do some heavy spanking. being as we have people here that I know, they're going to talk about code of conduct for East China School District employees and things that have taken place at this microphone. People who like to intimidate. But what I'm here today now is because Marine City, I've come across, because when you actually look and you start looking at SEV values, property taxes, 100% homesteads, 0% homesteads, I'm kind of confused because we have properties out here, and I'm going to make it easy for the people. We're going to use a $100,000 SEV. Some properties are at 20% for the taxable value, which would make your $100,000. Your taxable value is $80,000. Now we have other houses out there, which at $100,000 they're 40%. So now they're only taxed at $60,000. So we have a serious problem here with our one of the houses I went to was when everybody was wanting to throw taxes down our throat. One of our East China School District, Glenn Cohenbauer's property at 407 Woodworth, bought it for $110,000, $55,000 SEV. But at the time, the school wanted to put the extra millage tax, the heavy tax on us. Now we wanted a PA 33 tax. For some reason, his $55,000 SEV, $30,000 disappeared. It was down to $40,000. So I'm just wondering, as I was told that Kathy Thomas, she does the assessment. She says it comes from the county. Why is this? Why are some, like my property, is 20%? So if you take my, it all adds up. You were given something today by the showed you how it worked. So I don't understand this. So how come some properties are only 20,000 or 20%, and some houses are 40%? I thought, well, maybe hey, it's the people with kids and people without kids. No, I thought, well, hey, maybe it's the houses over 50,000 and the houses under 50,000. No. So now we're losing money somewhere because some properties that are getting a 40% cut, maybe they should only be 20% cut like some of the rest of us, like mine. Like I said, I did Mr. Moran's house, 40%. He was in 2000, and there was another thing. I thought, man, well, maybe the dates. House on Holland, 40%, bought in 94. My house, bought in 93, 20%. So we have a big problem with losing money here. You people all want to complain about everything I've had to say, truth and facts. Hey, like I said, I'm more than ready to stand up and let's talk. We want to be history buffs. Let's talk history. We got some serious history problems. Bunch of pals who've been together for 20-some years. Don't like to open their mouth because we don't want to rat out friends. Almost sounds familiar. Somebody better figure out which side of the fence he's on. The Tifa thing, I don't know, Tifa hasn't done nothing for my neighborhood. Yeah, she's hopping. I can't even get to DPW. You got to call them to tell them which properties is the cities to come cut the grass. Why that? Nah, because they're playing downtown, putting signs up and everything for Water Street. Tifa wasn't meant to be a personal bank account forever. It came to, Brandon is our legal beagle right there, is the one who recommended that, hey, she's run her course. She's ready. And you slapped him. When you slapped him, I went to the Bureau. So go ahead, It's like, we've had a divided majority Friends of City Hall vote up there for the last 12 years since Bob Lepley and the boys took over back in 2006. Like I say, we want to talk about different things in the city. Hey, I'm more than free. Set something up. Let's talk. Let's do the history of this city. I got nothing to hide, but I know we got people here got something to hide. I've done a darn good job of avoiding the issue. Why? No, because my kids and them, I remember them from elementary school. We lived with it. But then, I see pictures come across Facebook, light bulb goes off. Oh man. Then somebody tells me I need a psychiatrist. No, I don't need to know a psychiatrist. I need some real answers on why things are happening the way they are in our city. So someone for the citizens, property, all you gotta do is go on to St. Clair County, state equalization. Look up your neighbor. And you start knocking on the doors. 2014, there's a lot of money here. We either go 30% across the board, because there's a problem. Why are some people at 20% and some people at 40%? Like I say, $50,000, $100,000 house, with kids, without kids, doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up, some people not doing their jobs.
Good evening. Tom Burton, 560 Water Street. I'd like to talk about Tifa just from a personal experience. I've got 2 opportunities where we've actually received some funds from Tifa. And we started here, I'm an outsider from Harson's Island, way over there. And 5 years ago, we started the theaters on our dollar, on our dime, started working well. John Gaber said, you know, you should build a hotel, and I said, you're crazy. You know, the piece of property we looked at was polluted, it had problems. Who knows if a hotel could ever work in this area? And, you know, there's no way we're gonna do it. And Tifa stepped up in 2 different areas to give an investor, as myself, some confidence to invest in this area. They did a study, paid for a study, hotel study, third party, gave us some confidence. And they helped with some of the beginning environmental studies to tell us how bad the property was, that gave us the initiative that we could get a brownfield. Because without that, you know, without a brownfield, I mean, we spent in cleanup over $700,000 on that little site. And, you know, there's just no way you're going to sink that kind of money to try and build a piece investment there. So that 2 things that they did that gave us the confidence to invest. And we open on Saturday, and I just think it's been 14 months, a very short period of time that we're happy, we're confident, and I'm glad I invested in Marine City. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Julie Schultz. Came here not planning on talking at all. I live out on 6810 Marsh Road, Cotcherville Township, and just listening to everything, I just want to do a quick comment. We've been in the area for 25 years, and I don't know anything about the dollars, how they work with Tifa. I don't know probably as much as I should with it. But what I do know is that in the last few years, we've enjoyed the improvements that Marine City has made. I'd like to see the trend to continue. And now we have like family members and friends and that actually want to come out here to do things and enjoy the, you know, the flowers, the river, the new theaters and, you know, eateries and things like that. So, again, I don't know a lot about the funding and how it's working, so hopefully all this can be worked out and continue a trend like that, because it's a nice place and that's where we want our families to grow up in. Thank you.
Anyone else? Moving on to approval of the agenda. Was hoping that the board would allow me to move the Youth Readiness Council presentation to just before the unfinished business, just after the consent agenda, so we can get them through that.
I move to approve the agenda with that change.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor with the change?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I need approval for the City Commission meeting, March 15th, 2018.
Move to approve the City Commission regular meeting minutes, March 15, 2018, as presented.
Support.
Motion, support. Any questions or concerns on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the business license for Valentino's, a special event permit for Praise in the Park, a special event permit for music in the park, special event permit for the concert in the park, the Maritime Days fireworks permit.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as read.
Support.
Any questions on anything in the consent agenda? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can we then have the Youth Readiness Council presentation, please?
Hi, my name is Hannah Schultz, and I'm from the St. Clair Youth Readiness Council. And first, I wanted to just start by saying thank you for having us here tonight. We are a group of teens who work together to promote safety preparedness throughout the county. We were actually one of the first St. Clair County Youth Readiness Councils in the whole country.
Are prepared for any emergency that might happen. I like that it's more hands-on and we actually get to create projects that will be implemented into schools and around the school district.
This year, the Youth Readiness Council participated in Landmark Academy's Trunk or Treat. We helped over 1,000 kids learn a little more about safety through prizes from the carnival games that encourage safety and when to call 911.
Well, right now I'm creating a fun run, which is has a theme of it's like a zombie run. It's help the community just with awareness or with safety, and it's really fun with having teens and younger kids involved as well.
The council has benefited me because it's given me an actual realistic idea of what it's like to help a community and what it takes to be a part of a community. My favorite project so far has definitely been the Safety Town. When you actually are seeing how you're impacting kids and you're seeing the benefits right there, it's very rewarding.
The most interest for me would have to be the technology things. I like being involved in websites and creating stuff and making video footage, and then also like Safety Town, doing Facebook Live and doing a lot of technology.
The YRC is very helpful for colleges as well. When you're applying, they look for different activities and groups that you've been a part of. The YRC is really helpful for doing this and would be great for any colleges when they look into you.
We have partnered with Child Protective Services and gave care packages to children who are being removed from their homes so they can have items of their own, because this could be a very stressful time for them. The care packages included playing cards, journals, mugs, blankets, and a stuffed animal. We as a council had a great time putting them together, knowing that they will be going to children.
Thank you for watching this Youth Ready moment. For more information, please visit our website, youthreadinesscouncil.org.
Our council is currently made up of 5 members, and we range from 8th to 12th grade. And we do have adult mentors to help us carry out our ideas. This is our current members. So at our meetings, we meet once a month and we discuss different ways we can promote safety preparedness. And our main target is younger children because they look up to us as role models. However, we do reach out to all ages. And how we engage the community and the youth in our activities and events is by making them fun and informative. Some of the projects we do yearly is we keep up on a website and we post videos. We do survival rivals, a safety town, and a zombie run. The website and video is kept up by us teenagers ourselves. We edit the videos, we write scripts for the videos, and we post them all by ourselves.
The St. Clair County Youth Readiness Council is proud to present the Survival Rival Challenge. The challenge is for 5th graders to test their knowledge on preparedness and safety.
Now to get started. 4 minutes. If campers are near disaster, then what utensils do? D.
That is correct. I did mention kids of all ages, didn't I?
Good idea, bad idea, that one.
When a fire is present, you should grab as many things as you
B, false.
Survival Rival is a competition, but it's also a great way to learn how to be prepared and safe.
Thank you for watching this Youth Ready moment. For more information, please visit our website, youthreadinesscouncil.org.
One of our big projects is Safety Town. It's a scaled down model of a city, and we usually use this for preschoolers up to 2nd grade. And so what Safety Town is when the kids come, they ride around on little bikes, and it's like a floor layout of what a little town is. And when they go through, they experience every day like safety situations such as stop signs, railroad tracks, and bike safety. This is one of the first Safety Towns that we've done, and here you can see the kids riding around on the bikes. They often have a lot of fun at this event. And we were very lucky to have sponsors for this project. This is the zombie run that we also did. Some activities we do during the summer is they give us opportunities to visit organizations who are responsible for safety and protection. One of the first things we did is went to the State Police Training Center, and it was really cool because we got a tour of the facilities and we got to see what everyday life was like for trainees. And then, well, when joining the council as a new member, it's often intimidating because we are from all over the county, so sometimes you may not know someone. But we do icebreakers, like here we went to the Detroit Tigers game. So this made it easier for us to work as a team. And then some other activities that we do to engage in our community is the Council on Aging Survival Rival. We also participated in disaster drills, and like I said earlier, we produced many videos. Just recently in December, we partnered with the DHS office, which is the Department of Health and Human Services, and we made care packages for children being displaced from their homes. In October, we went to the Landmark Academy, a trunk or treat, and here we passed out candy and safety booklets for the younger kids. And we are always looking for new members, so if you know any teenagers who you think would be interested, we have some applications and flyers up over there on the table. And so, again, thank you for having us. We're not looking for any donations. We just wanted to let you know who we are and what we do. We are available to help with any event you may have concerning safety or preparedness. And lastly, we are currently accepting new members. So if you know of anyone who would be interested, please feel free to grab a flyer and application on the way out. And I'm sorry, I forgot to put this before, but the next event we have going on is a CPR and Stop the Bleed training for the youth. This will be held at SC4 on May 11th, and there will be applications at the local churches and at Marine City High School. Is there any questions? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to unfinished business. Do you want to break down your stuff? Okay.
Sure.
It's going to be a long meeting.
Oh, okay.
Take a 5-minute break.
Just a hint there.
We can move on with just, we're just reading the first ordinance. I need a motion to introduce ordinance 2018-002, parking of recreational vehicle equipment for first reading.
I move to introduce ordinance 2018-002 for parking of recreational equipment for first reading tonight.
Support. Motion support. Which one is this one? For the parking at the home? recreational vehicles.
It's the
Any-
one we moved off.
Right.
So that if anyone.
Is there anybody here?
Any questions or concerns on it?
There's a typo on the, for storage. Very first one. This is for the new one.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Storage.
Yeah.
Anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
No.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Lockley.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'm moving on to ordinance 2018-001, motor vehicles and snow removal. Need a motion to approve. Mr. Avery.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2017-01.
18.
2018.
It says 17 on our sheets.
You gotta go to the next, there's another page
Oh,
further in. They should have put the
sorry,
newer one
I
on the
read
top.
what was in front of me.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll amend that to make it 18.
I support.
Motion support. Any questions or concerns on this one?
Just a note, next time, can we have the newer one to the top?
It's not so much that it's the newer one, this one is the one with, it should have been the one with all the markups.
I know, but it's got the
Back.
18 on it.
For
This
some
one-
reason, I think it's because that's like hand typed in and not an actual correction.
This one says 17.
I know, it's no problem.
Actually, mine says both 17 and 18.
Yeah, you have the one showing.
That's the marked up version.
That's the marked
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the back. This is,
Any other questions on it? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Lockley.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
No.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
yes,
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to ordinance 2018-003, driveway and front yard parking.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance 2018-003, driveway and front yard parking.
Support. Motion support. Any questions on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Lockley.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
yes, although I will notice that it's marked 2017-3 also, in what we are looking at.
Commissioner
The one
Hendrick.
behind it is the
Yes.
mark.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to ordinance 2018-004, amendment of regulating purchase and consumption and possession of alcoholic liquor by a minor.
I move to approve ordinance 2018-004 as presented.
Motion support. Any questions on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes,
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Lockley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to Titanic Memorial.
The Mycroft's are here, if you have any questions for them.
I do. Yeah. Why are we moving it?
Got a list of reasons on that sheet I gave you. Should have anyways.
Yes. Says there are many reasons.
Yeah, there are. The Rotary seem to have a better interest in the memorial. It's more fitting to the nautical theme of Nautical Park. It addresses concerns of maintenance. It does not require any plantings or shrubberies that Mike was
concerned about. It's in an area that's not utilized during festivals. The concrete will not require any curbing as it would in Drake Park, which Mike was concerned about as far as doing the mowing, and it's less likely to be vandalized.
That area is utilized when they have the car shows, because I go to those, and everybody parks in those sections in there, and I know even the historic group wants to put a marker, same area is kind of used. Any chance you could put it on the other side of Nautical Mile Park?
We've looked at the different areas, and on the other side of Nautical Park, that's where, like, they set up for the Pumpkin Palooza and everything else.
See?
And this is right underneath the tree.
But they park there.
Yeah, well, we looked at all the different sites with Mike.
Yeah.
Mike said this was the most appropriate site to put it in.
And isn't there a letter or anything?
I thought there was a letter from Mike in there.
Yeah, there is, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I know for a fact that when the Boy Scouts do that, that they utilize that whole. What about the Watchman Park? Down farther. That's where the rusty thing is.
Well,
what about, I mean, we're not utilizing that much, maybe that would help draw more attention to that park.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, when we looked at the two separate places, because of this being directly across the street from the Inn on Water Street, it would have less chance of vandalism, and it would have more light, and it would also bring people from the ferry to the left, to the, down that way, as opposed to everybody going right all the time, if they came to see it. But I've asked people, and Deanna and I have watched, and I'm not trying to debate anybody with it, but this is like underneath the tree, and it will have 2 benches, and nobody has even said anything about that particular, underneath that particular tree there. Now, down by the water and all on the other side, absolutely. But Mike had just said you need to leave room between that wall and where the tree is, because right underneath that tree, the spot that it's a 10 by 10 foot spot.
Yeah, I understand that. I just know from being at the car show myself, the Boy Scouts set up right in front, and everybody parks right along there because they like the shade. So they park all along that whole side, and then within the park and on the street. So I'm just saying, the tough thing is that the whole park is utilized by some group at one time or another.
Sure.
Well, first off, I think the location is fine, in my opinion. I'm glad that Mike Kittredge feels the same way. The square footage on this, it's less than 20 feet, right?
10 by 10.
10 by 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know, this car show thing, is that one weekend out of the year? Yeah, so they could work around it, right?
Well,
the other
they're
300.
limited on space as it is.
But I just, you answered my question, thank you. The rest of the year, it would be in a great location, highly visible to the city. And I think, like you said, it reduces your chances of vandalism if it's up close to the street lights in that area. As far as other groups using it, giving up a 10 foot by 10 foot square space isn't going to stop them. They can figure out if they have to move for this one weekend out of the year, if they have to move cars in a slightly different pattern, it could certainly be done. No reason to stop this project, in my opinion.
It also makes it easier for handicapped people.
Yeah.
That was another huge consideration.
And I'd go out of my way to ask the people sitting in this room, how many of them have ever stepped foot in Watchman Park? Raise your hand. That's what I thought. Thank you.
I just want to thank you, because I know how long you've been working on this, and I'm thrilled with this. There's no perfect place. You're always going to bump into something. I mean, it's just like trying to pick out the perfect time or a place for anything. But anyhow, I move that we approve the transfer of the Titanic Memorial to the Rotary Club Nautical Park.
I support your motion.
Just comment that, yes, I was going to support it, and I think that is probably a spot not necessarily mentioned here it's useful because it is right across from the hotel. It will have people that are going to be out walking. And I would like to also comment on the nicely done presentation with the good plot that made it easy to read this and understand what
you.
you're asking us to vote on.
Thank you. Yeah, I support the change. You guys have been working on it a long time, and one of the things that we ask people to do is when they're looking for a project like this is to work with Mike Ittrich, and you guys clearly have done your diligence on that. You guys have modified the project over and over again, and reduce that size to minimize the impact. Again, it's always tough. We want to support the 1 day or 1 week a year events, but this is something that exists year round, and it does provide more seating. You spoke to an attraction that is easily accessible for those with mobility issues, and so I think that's great. It's a project that has nautical significance, and that's important when we're talking Marine City and nautical significance. So I'm in support of that, and I want to thank you guys for your efforts. It's been a long time coming now, so.
3 years.
Thank you.
I just want to comment, I'm not against your project. I voted for it the last time. I just prefer to keep it where it was. Because there is sidewalk there, it's still all accessible in the other part. Thank you.
Anything, Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Bridge Street traffic control order. Need a motion to approve the Bridge Street traffic control order. Mr. Avery.
Motion that we approve the traffic control ordinance P-18-003 or whatever it may be somewhere else.
Support.
Motion support. Any questions or concerns on it?
Yeah, I got a question. I happened to notice over the holiday weekend, or Easter weekend, that there was probably 7 cars in that parking area. Is the church going to use it? I know that we posting the signs yet, the 15-minute signs.
Not until
we haven't yet until this order's in. Yes.
I guess my concern is, again, I brought this up last time, and I know some people poo-poo it, but it's going to happen. We have a lot of restaurants downtown, and lately the trend is to allow restaurants with takeout to have 15-minute parking. So I just think this is going to open up the door. I really don't see that most of the time the only people that are probably going to use these spaces are the hotel people. I don't think it's probably a wise choice to make all 7 of these spaces 15-minute parking, because I think you kind of screw yourself at the hotel itself by doing that, and then you can use those spaces when you need them. So I would think you'd only want to do a couple of these spaces at a time instead of all of them would make more sense. But I think it's going to open up the door that a lot of the other restaurants are going to want the same type of issues for a 15-minute parking.
Mr.
I see it
Verge.
all over.
Yeah, just, the 15-minute parking that we're asking for is 3, maybe 4 spots on Bridge Street. There's not 7 spots there.
Well, it says the whole thing.
What whole thing?
The whole Bridge Street. It says the whole Bridge Street,
Well,
15 minutes.
but there's not 7 parking spots on Bridge Street. We, in the original design, we had a cut-in Bridge Street for drop-off for the hotel guests. And again, it's 3 spots. We haven't striped them, maybe 4 if you're tight, but we're requesting 15-minute drop-off. So I don't know who came up with 7. I mean, I didn't put that in, so there's not 7 spots.
Can we get this amended to just reflect 3? It's kind of a broad statement as to what.
It just says all of it. And
It
so
says
I
north
guess I'm
side.
just-
Well, it doesn't say all either.
It says north side.
Yes, it
Well-
doesn't say the word all.
I'm
But the
one
north
that said-
side means everything on the north side, that's
But
all.
it applies then.
Between South Market and South Water.
I said 7 because I counted 7.
It
and
implies
I
that.
was
So the
looking to
question
see-
here is, can it be changed to be
Pardon
3
me?
spots?
I mean, it certainly
And
be,
and the church had it all blocked, and I was looking to see, they were bumper to bumper. That's why there was 7 there. And I was wondering, how are they they're gonna wait for the other one to move so they could get out?
we
But
would
I
like
just wanted to know when the
a
sign.
drop-off zone, 3 spots are plenty, and I can't believe 7 cars could ever get in there if anybody drove by there. Maybe 4. And the other thing I wanted to mention, since I got the mic, is that I've talked to Mike quite a bit on the parking, and he's agreed there was 3 there. And in front, we're sure concerned with the parking in front, on Water Street all the way down. And we're gonna be doing our finished blacktopping within the next 30 days at the hotel, and we're gonna have to restripe it again. And at this time, I wanted to thank the city of Marine City and everybody that's helped in bringing this hotel to the finish line. And as we stripe the parking lot in the hotel, I would offer to finance and pay for the striping all the way down Water Street, which was never striped for the last, I don't know if it's ever been striped. But Mike has a plan, and I would say we would do it to his standard and to his plan. Because I walked it with him, he's talking handicap spots, crossings, and so forth. But as we do our striping in the parking lot, it would sure be nice if we could stripe across all the way down Water Street, so we would have 25, maybe 30 additional spots that would be identified with lines, because without lines, they park kind of crazy sometimes. They're parallel parking, horizontal, angle, at least we should have some sense of city parking. So we'd be willing to pay for that, and if you could vote for 3 spots, that's all we need on bridge, 15-minute parking. You got to be able to pull in and pull out, so you got to have a little bit of room. So that's all I got to say.
Yes.
Question?
And just as a clarification, it is addressing, the order specifically says on the north side between South Market and South Water Street, so it does include those spots. It doesn't include anything farther up or anything like that. So it is specific. Not that I don't doubt Commissioner Clausen's observation, but the parking order is specific to that area right there. Just
Right.
So we're
I mean,
clear.
if you
That's what's in the actual proposed parking order.
Which is the cut-in part of off Market. I mean, if you parked on Market, you'd be in traffic, I think, so.
So it is defined.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you
Mr.
very
Avery.
much. Oh,
I have a question, just a comment. I certainly will approve this amendment and wish to thank you for your generous offer on painting lane markings in town. I hope we find it in our ability here to accept that.
you gotta have a place for all those new people coming to Marine City to park. Thank you.
Motion and support. Any other questions?
Question on what is the amended motion?
It wasn't amended.
It's not.
I think he said he'd be willing to amend.
He's gonna stripe it, let him stripe the 3 spots
Oh,
they
yeah.
want.
Mhm.
That's separate. That isn't part of this motion. That's just something that we have to decide if we can do it.
It seems like we should, since
Well-
members of this commission were upset with the way this is worded, we should fix it.
Well, I'm not upset with the way it's worded, I'm just saying it opens up the door for other businesses to ask for the same thing. That's my concern, and that's my only
Talking
concern.
about you personally.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to attach a rider of that nature onto this. If it's fine, I'd be happy to make the amendment,
Okay.
but
I think you two might be talking about 2 different things. Are you talking about adding to this the offer to strike?
yes. Well,
I don't think that should be linked to this at all.
that's what I
I think what he's
recommend.
talking about is, do you want to amend the current order
How many
to
spaces?
limit it to 3 spots?
Correct.
Well, I think that's all that, I thought we decided that's all that was really there.
Well, the fact that people got upset because it's not worded that way, that's all.
It's not that it's worded, if he stripes it that way, then there's 3 spots. It's up to him to stripe it, I guess,
Okay.
right?
Well, it's city property. I'm willing to strike it, but it's your property.
But you're only asking for 3 spots.
Whatever the standard size is, so we are conforming to the city standard for parking.
All right, if there's no more questions on the actual order as it's written. Yes, Mr. Avery.
Should we amend it to say that there will be 3 spots? I
don't know, he's
Don't
gonna
think
have to measure.
I mean, it's.
I think we trust Mike
the way
because
it's
that's what we have
written
Mike
and-
there for, and clearly
Yeah.
Mr. Burton has been in contact with him and has had a good procedure, so.
Good. Then I would like to carry on with this motion,
Any other questions?
trusting our DPW.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Moving on to future, the Tifa decision, discussion. Lisa.
I'd like to make a motion to resume the schedule provided by the attorney dated January 12, 2017, which leads to the termination of Tifa by December 15, 2018.
Support.
Discussion. Ms. Lepley.
Of course, I'm going to vote against this, and I think it's absolutely the wrong thing to do. And part of that is in talking to the people at the state, and they're very glad. One phone call, they intend to extend TIFAs until the new legislation is passed. The tax capture investment vehicles are particularly complicated entities in the state of Michigan. We have a lot of snapshot opinions that lead to appeals and exemptions, but they continue to benefit the municipalities, the counties, and the state of Michigan. There's over 30 years of precedence, case law, and exemptions, but the tax capture legislation, hopefully to make these successful yet confusing investment vehicles clearer and easier to deal with, is pending. Consulting the state of Michigan every step of the way, our TIFA board through the years has successfully planned, organized, and used our TIFA funds to great benefit for our fair city. The long-range plan for Marine City approved by our Planning Commission and our City Commission has our TIFA running until 2029, and we do have choices. There is no reason why we would have to do this at this time. The decision as to whether we can extend our TIFA beyond this year does not lie at the city level. It resides at the state level. Unless we apply to the state, we cannot know if we can extend. And they have been extending without question, except for Flint, but that's a whole other issue. I believe that it is in the best interest of the city of Marine City to apply immediately for at least a 2-year extension. If we are turned down, then we will know that we did all we could. But to voluntarily give up our TIFA, I think is what they say, penny wise and pound foolish. If it is granted, then we can plan for the future with the additional monies that we would be provided. And so I urge everyone to vote no.
I would like to also support applying for this extension because I feel it's in the best interest of the city. And of course, if the state says no, well then there's no question about it. But it appears to be a wise thing to do, and I will support it when the vote comes.
First of all, I want to thank everyone that took the time and energy to either write us a letter or contact us personally, or certainly show up here tonight to voice your concerns and viewpoints on that. We've been dealing with this issue for a number of months now. One of the reasons why I made the initial motion to postpone this today was at that given time we had several members of our TIFA board who no doubt are great individuals and have worked hard, and I don't think that anyone in this room would debate what TIFA has done for us in the past, but they were indicating that they wanted some time to work out on something, a new plan, more details on that, and that's why I personally made that motion. But a lot of things that I've heard today, and then some items that I've even read in recent TIFA meeting minutes, seem to just emphasize things that have happened before, what TIFA has done in the past, and they don't really address what we were directly asking. is justifying it moving towards the future, of sharpening that pencil and creating an actual plan. You know, in the case of one of the items brought up tonight, you know, the Tifa district, that includes the Kmart Plaza. None of that's happened in these months, and that's specifically the reason why I would be against it. You know, we've asked for that, and a member of the Tifa board, even in the February minutes that we received today, indicated that the board and their conversation at that specific meeting was not addressing what our attorney told us. So even at that level, so that's why I have a bit of frustration. I would have liked to have seen a plan proposed to us, and we were given people ample time to do that. And yeah, the state might extend or something like that, but that should have been something we were already trying, and that's my concern, and that's what really informs my vote, is that we've given ample time, yet still not done anything to bring it forward and modernize and address the future. No doubt TIF has been a wonderful thing, and it's a great thing, but we're very specific about the future. And for me, I just don't see anything that has been brought to our attention that lays out a specific plan of how that tool can be utilized. You know, we had an individual speak up about working together to use it as a tool. Well, yes, the group that's working together with us is the TIFL board, and they have not, in my mind, you know, given us a new route, a new plan, or change, you know, in a very specific order of how we can adapt this based on the information our attorney gave us, and our detailed conversations that we've had, and that's my concern.
I have to concur with what Dave's saying. I mean, I was also on the subcommittee. We met with the TIFA subcommittee. They were given the task that you can't just say we want to extend. You have to have hard facts. And without those hard facts, to prove that these areas you have to prove that they're still depressed. It's one of them. And if you can't prove that the areas are depressed, which we cannot, they're all increasing, or that's what we asked the facts for, show us that these areas are still depressed, and then you may be able to extend it. But if you cannot follow all of the information that our lawyers put together to show that they're still necessary after 30 years, then you have to close them down. So Dave's right. We've given a whole lot of time asking for the facts, and then we didn't get anything. And again, these letters are nice, but those aren't the hard facts that's required by the state to keep it going. Also, if this goes through, an actuarial has to be done for each year that TIFA was in existence. So somebody has to go through every year for the last 30 years to look at what's been collected, what's been spent, what was left, and how that's dispersed. So none of us know what that figure is going to come out at for the money we currently have, okay? That's another huge process that's built into this. The TIFA board was also advised that you could look for another area within the city, and you could start a new TIFA district if there was another area that was depressed that required us to do so. But like the Kmart Plaza, I know people mention that, and I've talked to the owner. He's not interested in taking anything from the city. He's told us that numerous times, so you can't force him to do it. But most of these areas aren't depressed anymore. So if they aren't depressed and they don't qualify under the rules, we're obligated to close it. That's what we're getting from our city attorney, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, we were hoping that the group, the TIFA board, was going to come back with us with a whole proposal or something to show us why we can keep it going, not just because we want to. That's the issue.
It was my understanding, we talked about we were going to have a joint meeting, and it is my understanding that the TIFA group does have a presentation and a plan, but they were relegated to the 5-minute citizen tonight. They weren't able to present
They weren't
it.
relegated at all. I asked if he was representing the TIFA board, and he said no, he wasn't. So I had him use his 5 minutes. Mr. Clausen.
I wanted the Kmart they're talking that being depressed, and like you said, the owner doesn't want to do anything. I've been involved with big centers before, and you get a center that is like this one was doing, and he has another one somewhere else. He's using it as a write-off. He does. You've got people in that mall want to expand. They've asked me how they can expand, and the owner will not work with them. The county came down here with Tifa and tried to talk to him. He told him the same thing. As long as the owner doesn't want to do anything, there's nothing they can do.
One more point too, on the taxes that are collected, the taxes that get collected will then just go to our general fund, except for the states and the counties and the college, but we're not gonna lose that part of that money. That's gonna go into our general fund from now on. So it's just that everybody's gonna get their piece of the pie. And the other thing you have to watch out for, when TIFAs are created, when there's bond issues, like when the library has their bond or they have all their millages, those millages get taken out away from the library and the seniors and all those, and they go into those TIFAs to be used. So sometimes some of that money needs to go back to where it belongs in some of those groups where they have the millages.
Mrs. Lefway.
I just want to say that I think that this was handled horribly. The first thing that should have happened was working with the TIFA board. Instead, we have created a situation where the city commission is against the TIFA board instead of working together. There was so many opportunities for us to have that joint meeting. We were supposed to have a joint meeting. We were supposed to talk about possibilities going forward. And also, I'm very disappointed that we were presented with an opinion that says we only have one option. And everybody else I have talked to disagrees with that, including TIFA and DDA specialist attorneys. No, that is not your only option. In fact, the only reason to shut down the TIFA is because politically some members of the board want to. And the question that was put to our attorney in private session, so that TIFA people didn't know what was going on until I insisted that they be included. And now here we are again, moving against the TIFA board, losing this opportunity and this tool, losing it if we vote for Ms. Hendricks' motion. If we vote for that, we lose all of this money and this opportunity and this tool. And again, we are working in the middle of tax season when the chair of the TIFA is not available. And they were under the idea that there was going to be a joint meeting and that we were going to be able to go through all this and they were going to be able to display their plan. I cannot believe that they were not included in this and not allowed to speak. And I'm very much against ending our TIFA without even applying for an extension. And no, we do not have to do this.
Mr. Clausen.
Well, there was a closed session and your chair was here.
Yeah, because I invited him.
Pardon me, he was here. You just said he wasn't. And I'm not going to debate it with you. I just like to call the vote.
All right. Any other questions or concerns on it?
Apparently we don't get a chance to. He's called the vote.
Okay.
There wasn't a support for it, though. He called the question that would require a support.
Yeah, actually, it's called the question, not the vote.
But no one supported it.
I'll support it.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Turner,
Absolutely no.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
No.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Pardon me.
What do you?
Wait, she nodded, so you have to vote
No,
yes.
I
he
didn't
voted.
nod at anybody.
You don't know if you're voting on the call the vote or the issue, right?
Right.
You're voting on the issue.
Okay.
Then what's your vote?
To close it.
Okay.
Commissioner
It did.
Lefferts.
No.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Moving on to rezoning preferred glass mini storage.
I think at first he thought.
Once everybody's off, then probably voted yes.
Do you want to give us a brief on this one?
So before you have a memo regarding rezoning for preferred glass mini storage for rezoning. This has been before the Planning Commission for review for rezoning. It is consistent with the master plan. There was a line in here from, I think this was copied from her previous memo, which went to Planning Commission, that the site plan and evaluation drawings were attached. I do apologize, that wasn't actually intended for City Commission because this is just a rezoning, not a site plan review. As I said, it's consistent with the master plan. They own the adjacent parcel and have mini storage on it. They are looking to expand their mini storage, so that's why they are asking for rezoning. And it is surrounded by light industrial as well. Yeah. Very favorable. Yeah, recommendation from the Planning Commission is to approve rezoning.
I'd move to approve the rezoning for preferred glass mini storage as presented to us today.
Support.
Is this a roll call vote or?
Yes.
Roll call vote?
Mayor Van Bosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the charitable gaming license for the Marine City Athletic Boosters. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions on that one? Roll call vote on that one also, please.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Van Bosch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the retirement system waiver application.
As we all probably know, the retiree health care has been underfunded. We have been paying as we go. And with the new state mandates, there's a requirement for, if you're underfunded, to either apply for a waiver or prepare a plan for how we're going to handle this moving forward. The waiver, in essence, is an application really that you fill out and submit to the state. I kind of believe that at one point in time or another, we're going to have to put together a plan anyhow. Some communities are doing the waiver, some are going through with the plan. The waiver would be due next week. It's really just a general information that we would have to provide that explains things that we have done to this point. There really are no criteria for what they're going to be doing moving forward. They're still developing their plans. I think that we should probably prepare a plan. It's something that we eventually need to deal with anyhow. Preparing a plan, there's a time frame of 180 days from receipt of this. That gives us a little more time to really delve into this and work with the auditor and some financial planners to develop a plan on how we will deal with it.
You're not alone on this issue, and I would recommend you go the plan route as opposed to the waiver. It's just get some time to work on it. Part of your waiver is going to be put together a plan anyways.
So would you like a motion to, or just to do a plan instead of the application?
Make a motion that we make a plan to correct our underfunded status for pension plan.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to financial business, disbursements including payroll of $262,117.41.
I move to approve disbursements including payroll of $262,117.41.
Support.
Any questions or concerns on it? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
City managers report.
Meetings that I have attended, Blue Meets Green, TIFA, VDA, the county planning and zoning training, which was very educational. We had quite a few members that attended that as well. I was one of the panel at the State of the County address, which I think went fairly well as well. The infrastructure committee has had a couple meetings. They're going to be meeting again next Monday at 5 o'clock. They're working towards being able to prepare a plan for some street and infrastructure improvements in the future, and they're still looking at the funding that we have available to us. You will be getting the draft budgets next week for review for the budget workshops in a couple of weeks, and that will include the fee schedule, that will include some amendments to the fee schedule for your review as well. That's it.
Any questions for the city manager? Moving on to commissioner privilege. Mr. Avery.
I would like to thank the citizens who came out to the meeting tonight to express their views on the city and certainly on the primary issue of the TIFA that came before us. It's good to see that involvement, and hopefully we will support some of the other things that came up today. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Claus.
I'll pass.
Just a few things. I just want to thank Hannah and the Youth Readiness Council. It's much more difficult than it looks like to put together a presentation and give it to a group of adult strangers in front of everybody, knowing that you'll be taped. And I thought they did a great job. I'm on the emergency management newsletters and emails that go out, and they do quite a bit since they started that, and they do a lot of events. And so I just applaud that group of students that are taking that initiative to go through there. I think they're doing great, and I would encourage them if they need any support from the community, please reach out to us. Anything we can do to better prepare in the event that the worst happens, I think is in all of our best interests, our collective interests. And I just wanted to, as Laura Sasha said earlier, congratulate River Rec Teen Zone on meeting the fundraising milestone. Certainly there's much more to go on both ends of that project at 300 Broadway, but it's a pretty big milestone, and we're excited to be able to start making some real progress inside that building, and most importantly to be able to start increasing programming for the students. That's obviously the most important thing that we're looking to do there. And once again, I would just encourage anyone that is looking to be involved in that at any level, or just looking for greater interest, to contact myself, any of the board members, any of our social media pages. We're happy to share what's going on and let you know how you might be included in that.
Lisa.
Nothing.
No, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Avery.
I'd like to make one little addition.
Okay.
It was very nice for Commissioner Simpson to point out the presentation that we had. That was very well done, and the person giving it and the presenter of the rest did not fall into the trap that most people do of just reading PowerPoint or slides. There's a lot of training usually, and it's very good.
Well, I don't have a whole lot tonight. It's been a long meeting, so I'm going to I need a motion to enter into closed session to discuss the sewer contract.
Make a motion to go into closed session and discuss the sewer contract.
Support.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
No.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Avery.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
That carried, correct? Yeah. After completion of the closed session, there may or may not be further action taken upon in open session, so.